Good afternoon, everyone. Sorry about that. Good afternoon, everyone. So sorry about that. We had some technical difficulties causing some reverb. Is everyone ready to get started today?
Yes, do I have an echo, Tanner, or it was just you momentarily?
It was just me momentarily. We think that mine and Molly's computers were a little too close together, causing the reverberation. So again, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this WIOA Summit of 2022 breakout session. My name is Tanner, and I am with Illinois Center for Specialized Professional Support. I will be the moderator for today's session. Today's session topic is connecting communities to the American Job Centers. As a reminder, we ask that all participants please post your question in the WHOVA Q&A and we will address them at the end of the session. If you feel comfortable, we encourage all participants to participate and engage with our presenters by having your video turned on, but please note that this session is being recorded and your video will potentially be on the recorded session. Following the conference, the WHOVA app will host all conference recordings and resources. To be as accessible as possible, this webinar will be offering closed captioning. With that, we will get started with our presenters, Robert Guzman and Gabriel Perez.
Oh, well, thank you, Tanner. I think that's my cue. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone had a nice lunch and are enjoying the conference as much as I am. I'm honored to be presenting for the third time at the WIOA Summit. I will be your presenter. My name is Robert Guzman. The One-Stop Operator External Affairs Director for OWIA 7. Co-presenting with me is Gabriel Perez. He is the Career Pathways Navigator for the Near West American Job Center. So let me see if Molly or Tanner, give me a thumbs up that everything's good. Sound? All right. So welcome to Connecting Communities to the American Job Centers. Let's get started. This is our objective for today. I'm just going to share lessons learned by Scale It while connecting communities to the American Job Centers through the Career Navigator and One-Stop models that we're currently implementing in OWIA 7. Our agenda is I'm going to introduce my unique role as the One-Stop Operator External Affairs Director. I'm going to discuss how navigators are building trust with communities on behalf of the American Job Centers and building trust with the American Job Center network partners. I have some one-stop external affairs projects that I want to share with you that come along with best practices. And there's a new project that we're working on implementing digital literacy at the American Job Centers. Okay, so yeah, I am the One-Stop Operator External Affairs Director for 10 American Job Centers located in Cook County. 5 of them are located in Chicago and some of them are located in suburban area. It's my job to visit all 10 American Job Centers and assist in any way the partners with service integration, and coordination of services. So very exciting role. I want to share how my role as the One-Stop Operator External Affairs Director over 10 AJCS, along with me supervising 4 full-time navigators housed at these American Job Centers, are making the network more accessible. I want to recognize that the One-Stop Operator model was actually created by the Chicago Cook Workforce Partnership as a Workforce Innovative Board, specifically the Service Delivery Committee, who collaborated on this unique neutral entity to implement the One-Stop Operator. And these are the 10 American Job Centers. So there's some of them are located, co-located with community colleges. Some of them are co-located with the Illinois Department of Employment and Security. Some are in corporate buildings, and some are in city buildings. So I want you, when you look at this, don't look at addresses and zip codes, but look at it as 10 communities assisting 10 communities. So I look at the American Job Centers as communities within the community. So yeah, so I get to travel all over Cook County. And at these 10 American Job Centers, when I do visit and I do Zoom, I engage with all the WIOA partners at these American Job Centers. So I get to work with directors of workforce from Title I. I get to work with IDES local office managers. So, shout out to Metro South and Chicago regions. And then I get to work with the trade adjustment, folks and adult ed deans with Title II and the Division of Rehab Services. So I'm very integrated and engaged with all the partners as this external affairs director. But before I was the one-stop operator, external affairs director, I was a career pathways navigator. So that's where I started off my American Job Center relationship. Was in Pilsen. I was from 2018 in February till I stepped into the one-stop operator role in September of 2020. I was a career pathways navigator. I was housed at the Near West American Job Center, and instead of running around 10 American Job Centers, I was running up and down one American Job Center, collaborating with our IDES employment specialist and collaborating with our career coaches of WIOA programs and our SNAP and TANF staff. And all I was doing was just helping anyone that walked into the American Job Center with transitioning into career pathways. That was it. It was just what do you want to learn and what do you want to be trained in, and let's help you. So I love it. I still love it. It's very exciting, very rewarding to help community members, transition into their career pathway and transition into WIOA. A little bit of background. This model was implemented due to the new WIOA law that passed in 2016 that made the Near West AJC comprehensive. So meaning that Title II had to provide services at the Near West American Job Center, but it was 13 adult ed providers that were surrounding the American Job Center. So, you can't get 13 cubicles, or, you can't get 13 different staff members. So what they did is they approached Scale It, CCLC, Chicago Citywide Literacy Coalition at the time, and said, hey, would you mind managing a career pathway navigator on our behalf, and we'll utilize 2.5% of each of our allocated funds, federal allocated funds, to be able to house a navigator and them represent us. So that's kind of how I came in, was helping implement this new law and assisting adult education providers integrate with the Near West American Job Center. And at the time, I had already like 5 years of being in WIOA and being a youth coach and a job developer, and so I was very familiar with the WIOA Title I side of the house. And now I was helping the adult education WIOA Title II providers implement the law. So it was I was very already familiar, which was a benefit to me because I was able to educate the adult education providers on the WIOA side and how they can I guess how they could be a big role in the overall American Job Center network. So yeah, so then and I did that for about 30 months, and then in September 2020. I stepped into the one-stop operator role, and I'm still a part of the one-stop operator, but I'm now supervising 4 navigators currently. So So my task as a navigator back then was one task. Anyone, any WIOA client, any participant, anyone walking through the American Job Center, I needed to identify if they needed adult literacy, if they needed to learn how to read or write or improve their reading skills. Maybe they had just tape tested and their scores were low. So, so me being housed at the American Job Center with WIOA Title I, and my cubicle was next to their eligibility and team. So any individual that wasn't, literacy ready or numeracy ready for WIOA would be referred to me. Anyone that needed a GED will be referred to me, and then I will make sure that I connected them to an adult education provider that best fit them. If they needed to learn English or wanted to improve their computers. So me being at the American Job Center, I got to see people coming in, filing for unemployment, coming to a WIOA orientation, going in there to file for SNAP. Maybe they were going in there to look for other services. And then I was identifying, where their adult education and career pathways level was at. And then once I identified an individual that needed any one of these services, I would go ahead and transition them to one of the 13 providers. So the unique part about this is that, yes, how did one, navigator represent so many providers is because I took the approach of the job seeker. I focused on them of what did they need. Did they need an English class in the afternoon? Did they need an English class in the evening, or they needed a GED program on a Saturday? So by me having so many adult education providers with different schedules and walk-ins and semester only, I was able to always find an appropriate program for the job seeker. So that's kind of when I really started connecting communities to the American Job Center and to these providers. Vice versa, I also started visiting Erie House and Poder and Instituto and city colleges and going to their GED graduations and letting them know, hey, now that you graduated with your GED, meet me at the American Job Center so we could register for you for WIOA. So it was kind of a two-way street for me that I began creating to better serve the communities. I would go out into Pilsen, and I would go out into Little Village and other neighborhoods like Back of the Yards and let them know about the American Job Centers. I would have these monthly orientations in English and Spanish, and then I would let all the WIOA partners know at the American Job Center, like, I'm going to have these orientations, don't even need to send me a referral, less paperwork for you, just let them know that they could come in here and we'll be having orientations. And then being housed at the American Job Center, I was able to invite other partners into to join the orientation. I mean, we were all housed together, so I'd just knock on the cubicle of Job Corps and knock on the cubicle of IDES and knock on the cubicle of our career coaches and say, I'm having a group here for an orientation. Do you mind talking about your programs and services? So I wanted to make sure that everyone that I was recruiting from the community knew what the American Job Center had to offer. So I kind of began this educating the community about what the American Job Centers are. And then, a couple orientations in, staff from community-based organizations and, non-WIOA partners started attending our orientations just so they could know what's going on in the American Job Centers, which was awesome because then I was able to get more individuals from the community to come into the American Job Centers. And then this is kind of like a flow that I positioned the career navigator as like this representative of the community and this neutral entity where we would receive UI claimants that needed English classes or needed GED or needed digital literacy classes. We would get clients from our SNAP teams that needed these type of services, and then us as Scale It, we would identify the appropriate program for them, and then send them to them and communicate with Malcolm X transition specialists and Literacy Chicago adult ed managers and St. Augustine deans, and letting them know, hey, what happened to this referral? And then we would get that communication back, to IDES and IDHS, just some basic follow-up. And this actually was great because it created this trust among partners. Like, I'll send you people, to help file for SNAP and TANF, but please make sure our SNAP and TANF, recipients, are getting GED programs. So it was kind of my first time that I was kind of like, okay, well, there's communities working with each other, to service communities, if that makes sense. And then what I started doing is I started going out into the communities. I started just, I was already getting referrals from IDES and DHS and all our WIOA partners in there, but I'm kind of like, there's a lot of individuals, a lot of residents out there that if they don't come into an American Job Center to file for unemployment or to file for SNAP or any kind of services, they're not going to know about the American Job Center. So I took it upon myself to go out in the community and take everyone's flyers and let the community know, and as the navigator, I was able to do that because I had no caseload. I have no tracking system that I needed to take. Think of navigators as just the connectors between the communities and the American Job Centers, and connectors between WIOA partners. So we're able to, really integrate into the community because we got that flexibility. So that worked out. And then what happened is I started bringing the communities to the American Job Centers. I started bringing our partners because, when I would go to the Malcolm X GED graduations, or when I would go to Polaire's ESL certification graduation, or when I would go to Chinatown and talk to the teachers at Putak Center to let them know what the American Job Center was doing, I was like, hey, to better build a trust with your students and to better build a trust with your community, why don't you come to the American Job Center and let your community know that you'll be at the American Job Center, and if they need any of our services to come on by, that you're going to be there. And we'll let all our WIOA partners know that you're going to be there providing adult ed services, and we connect. So I started kind of taking myself out of the equation and directly connecting, Chinatown and Beck of the Yards and Brighton Park and all these communities to the American Job Centers, because I saw that, there needs to be that trust for them to come down to the American Job Center. And then what was created was this career pathways, transitions, kind of ecosystem. So I was in the middle of referrals from one partner to another. For example, Safer Foundation, they service a lot of returning residents. So I would go to Safer Foundation's orientations and let them know about the services at the American Job Centers. A Safe Haven, are big on providing services to the homeless community. So I would go down there to their orientations and let that special population know what they could benefit from, from the American Job Centers. Our CCEP participants, I would go and present to them and let the seniors know, 55 and better, that the American Job Center could help you in with workforce, with training, with supportive services, with adult education. A lot of seniors were interested in digital literacy. A lot of returning residents were interested in employment opportunities that were background friendly. So me being in the American Job Center and getting all of this information, it was great. So I could connect that to those communities and then so this is kind of what was created. 2 years into 2 years into implementing the career pathways model on behalf of Scale It and the 13 adult ed providers, the National Skills Coalition recognized us for our work on the front lines and service integration and advocacy. So it was just a point to me where I was just like, this was a month before the pandemic, 1 month before the pandemic as well. It made me realize how important it was to have a career navigator at an American Job Center as this liaison ambassador between workforce and the community and supportive services in the community. So that really it kind of opened up my eyes. So, and then because of the success that we were having in Pilsen and how important Scale It, feels about, the career navigator model and how it can strengthen the American Job Center network and create more accessibility to the communities through threading funding. We were able to duplicate the position now at 4 American Job Centers. So I have the honor of supervising 4 wonderful people at the Mid-South American Job Center, at the Southwest Daly College American Job Center, and at the North Side Near West and Mid-South. So 4. So everything that I was doing, as a navigator, I onboard and continue to provide best practices for these navigators. And so it's very unique as the one-stop operator external affairs director to also be able to have 4 navigators on the front line transitioning job seekers and adults and community members from one program or service to another. And then most recently, we were able to expand through a grant that we got through All Chicago to provide employment services to the homeless community experiencing the homelessness. So this is awesome. Now we're able to directly receive referrals from the homeless management system and help them tap into the American Job Center network services. So this is awesome. And it's collaborations are unlimited. The career pathways navigators, like I said, they do not have a caseload. They do not have a lot of paperwork and intake. They're really connectors of between the American Job Center and communities. So if you think about this, it's like we could now take the American Job Center on the road. Our navigators present all across their surrounding American Job Centers. They develop relationships with Scale It members. We have over 70 Scale It members. So then we're able to connect those members because they're funded by the Secretary of State. They're funded by something else, non-WIOA, so they have no relationship with American Job Centers. But through the navigators, that's their connection. Our navigators sit at their committees, sit at their coalitions, present to their staff, and develop relationships. So I'm very excited. This is a perfect example of how me being in the one-stop operator external affairs, I can connect the navigators to employment and business opportunities, so then they could relate that to the communities. We were getting a lot of inquiries that people are like, I don't need a GED. I don't want to go into WIOA training programs. I just need a job right now. So what I did is, the one stop, I had already developed a relationship with the 4 sector centers and in the Chicago Cook Work and in WIA 7 funded by the Chicago Cook Workforce Partnership. And now we're able to, refer job seekers from the communities directly to healthcare, hospitality, IT, and transportation and logistics openings through the sector center relationship. So this is how I'm starting to align the career navigators with the American Job Center networks with the overall scope of service integration. So yeah, so just a little bit about my external affairs role. I am, like I said, I am part of the one-stop operator team that's composed of 2 one-stop operator managers and our service and our strategy and implementation director. And together, we just, we make sure that seamless coordination of services across WIOA partners are good, that integration of services by WIOA partners, efficient operations, commitment from all the partners, and they've been doing an excellent job. So I'm very humbled to be part of this team. Like, for instance, the one-stop operator team facilitates 10 American Job Center monthly partner meetings a month. So they're virtual, of course, and at these meetings, you have all the WIOA partners. Usually the one-stop team has either a guest speaker or some updates, and then and then all the partners provide their updates, and then everything's documented in the minutes and shared with our partners, and then after 24 hours after every American Job Center monthly partner meeting, a newsletter comes out. And in the newsletter, you have the links, you have the flyers, you have upcoming debate, important policy changes. So what I do is I take that information from each one of the American Job Centers, and I provide it to our navigators, and then our navigators actually attend these monthly partner meetings, so they know what's going on in their particular American Job Center, and then they're able to provide that information to the community. They're able to print out all the flyers and events and take with them to events. It's like it's a communication chain that goes directly from the center level to the front line. So it's very exciting. If you want to see an example of a newsletter, you could scan the QR code there. But this is how as the external affairs director, how I am making sure that the information that is going on in the American Job Centers doesn't get stuck in the center level, but gets distributed out. So very exciting. Also, the one-stop team creates these products to assist WIOA frontline staff and all staff with helping improve the job seeker experience. And one of them was a unified orientation. This is a perfect example on how we could connect the communities to the American Job Centers. Is before you would have to physically go to a WIOA orientation or to know what's going on at an American Job Center. And shout out to the one-stop team for 6 months, really taking a human-centered approach and bringing in job seekers to get their input about what would they want to see in the orientation. And trust me, they do not care if Obama passed it in 2016. So that was very clear. But if you have not gotten a chance to see this orientation, you could scan the QR code. What I did with this orientation is provided to our navigators, and then our navigators go ahead and distribute it among the community. They share it with job seekers. As our partners at the American Job Centers are downloading it to a desktop, so when people come in, they could just go ahead. Have you ever been to an American Job Center? No, here, watch this 8-9 minute video and I'll be right back. So it's almost, it's very rewarding to walk into the American Job Centers and hear the same orientation throughout the whole network. So, we're excited to announce that we've translated it into Spanish. And then, so now we're going to be able to distribute it across the community. So this is how we can send this orientation to communities without them having to come here. And if they are interested, then they could come here, or they could know how to connect. Yay. If you want to know all the other cool stuff that the one-stop operator is doing to improve, to help improve the experience, American Job Center Network experience, they will be presenting today at 3:30. Building cross-title tools for American Job Centers is very exciting. They're going to be talking about all their working groups that they have, orientation, customer satisfaction, calendar events, cross-training, and a unified referral system that they're going to be working on. So yes, so just, so this is look at it as the one-stop team produces these products in collaboration with our WIOA partners from frontline, centers left, all, system-wide. And then they let me know, like, hey, Robert, I need you to help us, implement the customer satisfaction survey and so on. So this is kind of a balance, which I love, because then it frees me up. That's what happens. It frees me up to do other projects. If the one-stop team is facilitating these meetings and putting these newsletters together and coordinating these working groups, that allows me to be free out in the field and where I could, where I could have where I can help partners with some impact. One of them was that I was lucky enough to be involved as a one-stop operator in the American Job Center reopening. I actually had to submit 6 reopening forms on behalf of WIOA 7. So it was Woodlawn, Pilsen, Wheeling, Harvey, Mid-South, and Prairie State. I was gathering information, gathering signatures, gathering evidence. I had to be very flexible because we had a very short, timeline. So I've almost become a reopening kind of expert, I believe, because I've seen it so many times and I've done it so many times, which this allowed me to be able to move around with best practices. That's what I love about this position, is that, I'm able to move from one American Job Center to another. And if something at an American Job Center is a best practice, then I could take that information and help it implement it somewhere else. Or if an American Job Center has an issue, then what I'm able to do is I'm able to predict that happening somewhere else. So and reopening is very important when connecting to the communities. You can't connect the community to an American Job Center, and an American Job Center is closed, So I took it very personal and moving the reopening along. And I just got a text earlier that our Near West American Job Center, which was tasked with implementing this new hybrid model, is actually open. So it's good. So we got the signatures, we got everything. So this allows me to kind of really be at the center of reopening. So some of our American Job Centers are co-located with IDES. So this is great for me because that saves me a lot of Zooms. That saves me having a Zoom with IDES and workforce and WIOA. I could just be there and make myself available. So when I go, I visit all 10 American Job Centers. Even though the monthly partner meetings are facilitated virtually by the one-stop team, I find it great value to be there side by side with our WIOA partners and implementing this WIOA law. So this is great. I just wanted to share that with you, that these were the 3 American Job Centers that were selected by the governor's office for tier 1. So me having very strong relationships with the WIOA partners and them knowing that I will be there with them allows me then to bring other partners from the community into the center. So we're reopening. We're reopening. So as the external affairs, director, I facilitate, these WIOA partner operations meetings. They're outside the monthly partner meetings. They're just meetings to discuss operations, this transition of reopening, hybrid. It's a new way of providing services. We have to almost create our own templates and flows of customer referrals and integration. So this is great. This is where I want to be. Me being in these conversations and facilitating these conversations, I'm able to provide input on what can better serve communities and our job seekers. Ooh, excuse me. Signage is one of the projects that I'm currently working on as external affairs director. We wanted to make the American Job Centers more visible. Part of our scope was to help with the rebranding of the American Job Centers. So we have American Job Centers that are located with city colleges, but there is no signage outside. So how can even the students know that there's an American Job Center there? So I'm happy to announce, and that's not only with community colleges. It's also with American Job Centers that are housed in corporate buildings. They're on the fourth floor or they're in a small area by a big parking lot. So as I want to make sure that communities know that we're here. And we need to have a sign that says there's an American Job Center here. We could find jobs. So I'm happy to announce that at the last MOU negotiation, the partners approved unanimously that to provide funding so we could provide signage for all 10 American Job Centers. So that's really, really cool, because the one-stop operator team submitted recommendations and quotes and how where signs could go. So I'm very proud to know that this is moving forward. And yeah, so that kind of just brings me to me being humbled to have been part of the Illinois Workforce Commission. Specifically, I was part of the user and stakeholder working group. And we put together some recommendations for the state, and one of them was welcoming and inclusive. That we should be a welcoming American Job Centers, and I honestly look at the Navigators. I look at the Navigators as a welcoming kind of stakeholder. Where they're going to the American Job Centers, like I used to go into the community and bring people to the American Job Center and welcome in, and what are you here for? And so I'm hoping that our dream is to have one navigator at each American Job Centers, because we see the value of it, and we can see that they can assist with some of this welcoming and accessibility points. So I met a lot of really nice people being part of this user and stakeholder working groups. And even though we were from different parts of the of Illinois, we had the same issues. We had the same pain points from our clients. So I wanna make sure that I recognize them, because it was very exciting to go down the journey of equity and inclusiveness with them. And that brings me to my last project. One of my last projects is, the Scale It has a education and technology director, Michael Matos, is actually presenting right now at the same time with me about digital literacy. But I knocked on his door. When we first stepped into the one-stop operator, we did an assessment and survey of all the WIOA partners, frontline staff, center level staff, and we let them know what kind of barriers they were encountering, because of the pandemic and so on. And they said digital literacy. They said that digital literacy was a huge barrier for them to being able to communicate with their clients, with them being able to provide services And I remember when I was doing the walkthroughs with CMS and the Illinois State Police and working with the reopening, I would see individuals knocking on the door. And who were these people that were knocking on the door? They were the people that didn't know how to use a computer, so they couldn't file for unemployment online. They couldn't attend a WIOA orientation online, or and they didn't know English. So I knocked on Michael's door and I said, hey, Michael, I know you guys, got some cool stuff, digital literacy projects going on. Would you mind, helping me or assisting me in implementing some digital literacy at the American Job Centers? He said, yes. And, now we're helping bringing digital literacy to communities through the American Job Center. So through the North Star Digital Literacy Assessment Platform. So I'm very excited. It's just a new initiative, but it's going really well. And, we have to be honest, we have to accept that digital literacy is part of the workforce, the new workforce now. So, and then advocacy. I believe that from the time I was a navigator until right now, it is very important. It will definitely affect how fruitful your ministry. Excuse me 1 second. But it does not affect the validity of your sentence. Sorry, the alarm went off. I'm sorry about that. Like I was saying, since my days as a navigator and still to this point, I believe that educating elected officials about the workforce system and about the work that we're doing and as career navigators, as workforce professionals, they should know what we're doing and that we're really onto something. I know we are 7, we're doing a lot of good stuff. So I'm having a lot of fun as the one-stop operator, external affairs director. We're 4 navigators, and I'm going to continue to advocate. And I just love seeing more navigators and more American Job Centers in more communities and bringing more people to the American Job Center. So, I'm part of the National Skills Coalition Illinois delegation. I love sitting on the skills agenda table with the Chicago Jobs Council. And so any chance I get, I'm ready to say good things about the WIOA 7 American Job Center Network. And I guess now I have time for questions. I know I was going 100 miles an hour with my energy, but I guess I'll go ahead and open it up for questions.
So this is great. We do have one question in the chat on WHOVA, and it is, how can we address the disconnect of some agency administrators with the clients they serve? And this was noted based on a question someone had listed, define some best practices across AJCs to increase awareness of services.
Say that one more time, I'm sorry.
Sure. So the question is, how can we address the disconnect of some agency administrators with the clients they serve?
Would I be able to get an email? I want to give a good answer. Is that okay, Molly? Can I use the app to reply?
Yeah, you can definitely respond in the app. So this question is in the WHOVA app. It's in the Q&A of the WHOVA app. So you can see the question in there in that app. Other questions that individuals have, feel free to just go ahead and post those in the chat on the WHOVA app. I'm looking through right now to see if we have any other questions. Okay, so I do see one question. Do you mind if I ask another question from the app, Robert?
Go right ahead. Yeah, go right ahead.
Okay. Knowing that other local workforce areas will begin reopening for in-person walk-in services soon, what was or is the biggest barrier that you faced?
Oh, I'd have to say we're gonna have to re-educate the community. We made people, this pandemic has made people so comfortable with just doing everything online, making appointments. I think that's what it is. It's gonna be re-educating the communities about that we're open and what we offer. So I think it's gonna be like a huge campaign, and I look forward to doing that myself in my WIOA 7 and making noise for our American Job Center so they can know that we're open and we're here to serve them.
Great. I do not see at this time any more questions in the chat box or the Q&A box on Whova. So again, if you have questions, go ahead and throw those in there. You know, I think I did just see one come up maybe. Let's see. Okay. So here's a question that just came up. Nice presentation. My big takeaway is robust community engagement requires getting out of the office and meeting your partners and customers on their turf. Is that right?
Did I unmute myself? Am I unmuted?
You're unmuted.
Okay. Yes. Yes. And I think that's what makes the Career Navigator so unique and made me so unique, that I would see 50 people filing for unemployment. So I'll see all the employment specialists, you know, getting them in Illinois Job Link. And then I would see all the WIOA Title I career coaches and eligibility team and business services team busy with putting stuff in Career Connect. And I would see DHS. So I would see everyone, you know, at their desk because they're busy. They have, you know, and that was some of the recommendations that we did in the user group. Is kind of like, what's up with all this paperwork, you know? But as a navigator, not having a caseload allows them to go into the community and promote that there's going to be a hiring event, and promote that that IDES is by appointment only, and this is the number to call, and this is the flyer in English and Mandarin and Cantonese and Polish, and that, you know, and that Malcolm X College is having this program. So yes, I have to let you know that has that's a big factor why the Career Navigator model is very successful, is because we're very able to be very flexible and be out in the community.
Great. I don't see any additional new questions or chats at this moment. So what I'll do right now is just kind of go over what's going on next at the conference real quickly, give people a few minutes to write in the chat while I do that. So after this breakout session, we have a brief snack break for here in person. If you're off site, you know, you can eat your snacks too. So we have a brief snack break. Then our next session is at 2:15 p.m. and it's our plenary session. It's from pandemic to Sansdemic, and that'll be happening at 2:15. We'll have that for about an hour. Then we'll have a little mini break with our final breakout session set occurring at 3:30 to 4:30 p.m. Another great chunk of breakout sessions just like right now. Let's see here. So we did get one more question, Robert, that I'm going to ask. Excellent presentation. You appeared, wait, I'm sorry. You did get some good comments in there too. I was reading a comment instead of a question. So you got some good comments, Robert, definitely look in there. But thank you, Robert. Can you share some strategies on how you worked to engage all partners with the monthly OSO meetings?
Oh, that's a great question. So as the one-stop operator external affairs director, I am tasked with engaging partners at the monthly partner meeting. So that's my job. And you know, some of the times this engagement is they don't see the value that they bring to the table, you know, and vice versa. They don't see the value. You guys have to discuss the value. Like, what is the value of having DHS at the table? It's because we get to know what the latest policies and changes there is to SNAP and TANF programs. You know, why is it important for IDES to be at the table? Because then we know what their veterans department is up to, you know, has anything changed with UI claims, you know, during this tax season, you know, IDS went to all 10 AJCs, you know, they go, shout out to my boy, Jeffrey Routier, you know, cause he be representing Antino Sagaro, and they go and they let them know to obtain your 1099, this is what you do. So I think we need to know what value each partner brings to the table, because every partner brings something to the table. And sometimes, you know, they're just not engaged because there's turnaround, you know, like, or someone got promoted or someone retired. You know, I've done so much onboarding with center level staff and regional staff, and our navigators, you know, sometimes they assist with the frontline staff onboarding because they know everything. They're very knowledgeable of all WIOA partners and programs. So
Great.
You could email me anytime.
We did get another question as well. So this was a question or more of a statement regarding living in rural areas. So do you have any tips on finding events and to attend and getting the word out for rural areas?
You know, and in my WIOA, you know, the American Job Centers located in Chicago, they're very, you know, urban. But you know, like the one that's in Prairie State College, which is, you know, South Suburban, and then the one is in Wheeling and North Suburban. They're not rural, but they're as close as rural there is. But you know, this pandemic actually made it prove that partners don't need to be co-located, and partners don't, you could do a lot of virtual events, a lot of resource events. But if you're looking to see where to find, I guess, more customers, you know, you almost have to think outside the box and think about like immigration services. You know, like our Navigators have a relationship with a lot of immigration community-based organizations, you know, that are statewide. Legal Aid Chicago is one of them, where they provide legal services, but they send us referrals. So I think it's almost like, look at everyone that's not funded by WIOA and try to tap into those kind of communities. Like, for instance, me as the one-stop operator, I attend all area planning council meetings, you know, and at these area planning council meetings, you know, you have libraries, you know, you have community-based organizations, you have representatives from, you know, the faith organizations. So then it's almost what I did as a navigator, and kind of what I'm doing as a one-stop operator is I'm making stages. I'm making places where maybe I only stop by once a month, but when I stop by, I have information about the AJCS and about our WIOA partners, and vice versa. So it's kind of just integrating yourself in different kind of fields.
Great. So I do not see any questions right now, any additional questions. So I think Tanner is going to do some wrap up for us, and then we'll be moving on to the next parts of the conference.
All righty, everyone. Thank you so much for attending today's WIOA Summit session. Make sure to continue engagement and networking on the WHOVA app, and we look forward to seeing you at our next session.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good day.
Thank you, everyone, for joining me. I really appreciate it, and hopefully it was informative for you.
Great. Bye-bye.